Hey everyone, it's Rina. Welcome back to my channel, and for anyone who might be new here, thank you for tuning in. So I know it's been a while since I filmed a video. No excuses, honestly, like I've just been really busy. But I wanted to share with you my full review on the Full Spectrum palette from Urban Decay. Mind the appearance, my hair is a mess. It's been such a crazy semester that I'm not able to go get a haircut until like another week and a half. So this is kind of what I'm dealing with right now. But you know what? It is what it is. At least my makeup looks good, I guess. So anyway, I know I've been saying a lot. Gosh, I need to kick that habit. But anyway, Full Spectrum palette. I've had a couple weeks now, which I guess is good, to give you guys a full review on it and get some use out of the colors. I've used a good majority of the colors. I think there's just one or two that I haven't actually applied to the lid, or I've tried and they haven't really worked out that well. So I'm going to get into that. I've swatched them all on my hand already. I used the brush that the palette came with, and I applied it over primer. So that is they'll be pretty true to what you would get on your actual eyes, just because I'm using, primer and a brush. So I tried, I'm trying to do that more in the videos, like kind of show you more true to life swatches than using my fingers or something. Fingers would probably be mostly for first impression type of reviews. So anyway, just to get into it, I'm going to show you the outer packaging it came in. I did this in the first impressions video, which I'll have linked down below, but just to go over it again. This is the box. It's really cute. It's a black box with the typical Urban Decay crushed shadow aesthetic, and it has this little, silver UD on there, kind of all crystallized. In the back, it just has a little anecdote about the palette. It says, when color is your drug of choice, you know where to get the good stuff. This limited edition palette contains an insane spectrum of 21 shades of our iconic eyeshadow, from bold brights to matte white. We arrange the shadows in a rainbow of ombre trios, pinks, oranges, yellows, greens, blues, purples, and even a wild card row that goes from white to black. Create monochromatic looks by working within the color-coordinated trios, or experiment with multiple shade groups at once. With 18 new shades, 3 exclusives from past palettes, and a wide range of finishes, you'll never run out of options. So that's their little spiel about the palette. To get into it, it looks like this. Mine's a little bit dirty because it does attract dust, but it should be fairly simple to clean. So this is the palette. It's black with this textured packaging. It really does look like a colored spectrum, so I really like that. And I love the crystallized UD like they have on the original Urban Decay Spectrum palette. So yeah, I really like this. The only thing I did mention this in my first impressions, it's very sharp. So that might not be an issue for most people, but if you're clumsy, if you have little children, if you have pets, keep this somewhere safe where they're not going to, get into it, because they are very, very sharp in comparison to other palettes that I've seen. And I think it's just because of the hard plastic. So the back, it just has, the weights of the eyeshadows and everything, which these are 1.2 grams, so I think they're just under full size. So that's, pretty fun. The opening has an Urban Decay embossed in here, or engraved. And my only issue, I always have to open it like this. It's just very uncomfortable for me to open. I don't know if it's because I have smaller hands or what, but it's just uncomfortable for me. So something to note, I wish they had put the little push button, opening that some of the Vice palettes had, but c'est la vie, life goes on. They have this really beautiful mirror, really nice, huge mirror. It does attract the dust from the palette, so you're going to need to clean it if that's an issue for you. I've just been using my regular mirror, but if I took this to travel, you might want to have something to clean it off every now and then. So I guess I'll go through the shadows and show you the swatches. Just to show you the inside of the palette, it does look like this. You have 21 shades, 3 of which are re-promotes and the rest are brand new. But yeah, I'll get through those and you'll see my thoughts on this palette. Yeah, it's not the best, guys. So, spoilers. I swatched going down the row of their columns, and I did like 2 columns per line of swatches. So I'm going to start with the first column here, which was Alchemy, Gossip, and Paranoia. So this is Alchemy right here. It's a kind of shimmery, frosty cranberry shade. I really like Alchemy. This is a previously promoted shade. This is from the Vice 3 palette. I did not buy Vice 3. That was like one of the few Vice palettes I did not buy. And I really wanted it for the Alchemy shade and Sonic. So I'm kind of glad that Alchemy and Warning are in this palette because they're very close. I mean, Alchemy is a direct dupe, but Warning is very close to Sonic. So I feel like I kind of got that color without having to buy that palette. The next one is Gossip, and it's hard to show you guys, right there. It's a kind of bright hot pink. I really like this one. It almost has like a blue sheen to it. There's a little bit of shimmer in this one, so there's a little more fallout. It's a little grittier in texture, but it's nothing even close to Midnight Cowboy or any of those eyeshadows from Urban Decay. It's just something where you might want to tap off your brush before you apply it to the eye. I really like Gossip. I've had good luck with it. It's worked really well and it's blended well, so I'm happy so far with Alchemy and Gossip. Those two colors are great. The next one is Paranoia, which is this, it's kind of hard to see, but it's a very frosty, light baby pink. This one's nice for what it is, but it's not very pigmented. I realize that it is a shimmer sheer shade, so maybe that was intended, but it does take a lot of love to get it to show up very vibrantly. Usually I'd have to use it wet or over a white base, which is the case for a lot of these shadows, so it's kind of sad. So I guess we'll move on to the next row, next column rather. The first one here is Warning, which is the one that I said is kind of similar to Sonic from Vice 3. It's kind of a burnt orange metallic. I really like this one, and it applies very, very well. Excuse me, even on its own without anything under it, it's really great. I've worn it a couple times, and I've been really happy with the result. The next one is Seas, which is one of my favorite colors in the palette. It's this really pretty coral, kind of a coral salmon shade with a blue purple shift. Really beautiful. I even think this could be a really pretty blush. I haven't tried it like that, but it reminds me of Darling Girl Cosmetics Fantasia blush, so I think it would work well that way. It is a more sheer eyeshadow. It's not as pigmented. It does take a little bit of building up, but when it is placed on the lid, it looks gorgeous. I was wearing it in my October favorites video, if anybody is curious. I used this entire palette for that look. So, and then the last one in that column there is Jones, which is this kind of, I don't know, it reminds me of like Sunny D or something like that, you know, orange, but also kind of an orange yellow. Very, very shimmery. This one, it looks more pigmented in my swatch than it ever performed on my lid. Every time I use this, which has been often because I do love this color, I have to use it wet. And that's a shame. It's really a shame because I really wanted these shadows to be fully, intensely pigmented, but Jones needs help too, so it's kind of sad. Okay, so moving on, the next column is supposed to be like the yellows, I guess. Yellows, golds. So we start off down here with Midnight Blaze, which is one of the weaker shades in the palette. The swatch does it more justice than it performs. It's kind of this weird brownish green color. I don't know how to explain it, but it's very sheer and it has some shimmer in it. I used this shade when I wore Warning, the metallic orange, and 100, which we'll get to soon. And I used this to kind of add depth to Warning, and it did that, but it was very slight. Like, this is just something you're going to want to use just for depth, and it's not going to add much impact. So something to keep in mind. This is definitely a dud. The next one is Better, so that's good. The next one is right here. It's this yellow. It's called Calavera. This one is a matte yellow, and you know, I was like, oh, I don't know how this is going to perform. You know, I'm used to Sugar Pills, Butter Cupcake. Is this going to be good? And I really like Calavera. I've been waiting for a yellow from Urban Decay for the longest time. Like, not a gold, you know, a yellow. And this is it. And Calavera is great, and I wish they would release it as a single. I personally wouldn't need to buy it because I do have Butter Cupcake from Sugar Pill, but I feel like it would be great for someone who doesn't have that. So Calavera is awesome. It performs beautifully. The next one is Goldmine, which is a sheer gold. This one, honestly, is very lacking. There's no pigmentation there. It just is very sheer and just shimmery. I even tried to put it in the inner corner one day, and it barely showed up there. So it's another one that needs so much help to even look like anything. Okay, moving on. Little better news, I guess, is 100, which is this really pretty metallic forest green. This one I used as a liner when I wore Warning here. They kind of made a really nice fall Halloweenish look, and I really loved 100. It went on very nicely. Even I don't even think I put a primer under my eye, and it really worked nicely. So good one. Hatter is one of the rave promotes. This is from the Alice Through the Looking Glass palette, which clearly I love Alice, so I already own that palette. I mean, I don't love that palette, but I own it. Hatter is a letdown, and I'm really sad that this is the green that they included. Like, this is the true green that Urban Decay decided to put in this palette. No, I don't think anybody really liked that color, but it doesn't perform well. It's kind of patchy. It feels a little bit better in this palette, but just minimally. So I'm kind of at a loss for why they would include that, but anyway. The next one here is called Mean, and it's a metallic chartreuse. I really love colors like this. Even though this one isn't fully pigmented, I do like it. It does take some layering or using it wet to get it to be fully intense, but I like the effect when it is. So I'm willing to work with that shade. Next, we're going to start over here. This is Minx. Beautiful, full impact navy blue. I love that shade. It applies so beautifully. Next one is Blindside, which is a matte kind of turquoise. I love this one as well. It's fantastic. It applies very well and blends well. And then this one right here is kind of a cornflower blue. That's Metamorphosis. That's one from the Alice Wonderland Through the Looking Glass palette again. It's another one of the duds. I don't know why they picked that. It's so thin. It doesn't apply well. I don't think that sheer cornflower blues work well. So I'm really sad that that's another one of the blues they included. Like, blues and greens, Urban Decay is really good at them. I don't know why they dropped the ball by putting this one in here. Onto the purples. So here's Delirious. It's a purple-based matte plum. I'm not a big fan of colors like this in general, but this one is not terrible. So it's just kind of a meh for me. This is Sketch. You can really see the blue shift in this lighting, which is good. It's not super pigmented. This is another one that needs a lot of help. But if you like very sheer purples or you like just a hint of purple, this will be a good one. And this one looks really funny in my swatch, but this is Faded. And it's kind of a gray purple with gold shimmer. The gold shimmer kind of falls out, and then the color kind of shears out. And I don't know if you can tell how thin this shade is, but it is. Not a fan. I'm just not a fan of that one. It's kind of a weird inclusion. Platonic is a matte, or not, excuse me, not matte. It's a dark black with silver shimmer. It's not as opaque as, say, Blackout from Urban Decay, but it's a decent inclusion in here, and I've used it to set my inner waterline liner. This is Iced. This is another failure for me. It's very thin. There's just not much to it, and for like something that's supposed to be a silver, I know Urban Decay can make good silvers because they did in their Oz palette. They have in past, Vice palettes. I know that they can do better than that. And then there's a matte white here called Bump. It's a matte white. It's decent. It's not the best matte white I've ever used, but it's pretty good. So it's a good inclusion in here to have like a highlight color. It's good, and you can lighten the other colors. Okay, so overall, guys, I like about half the palette, maybe a third. I don't know. It might be like a third of the palette that I solidly like. I generally like this side, and then this side I don't really care for as much. So I would probably give this a C, honestly. And I'm a big Urban Decay fan. You guys know that. The majority of my collection is Urban Decay. But I would give this a C, and that's really sad. I like the oranges. I like Calavera. It's a beautiful yellow. There's like one green that's really great, and then the other one's like eh, and then, Hatter's terrible. But it's not great. And for $55, no, I think there's better options. I got mine for $45 because I had a $10 Urban Decay kickback, so I don't feel too terrible, and I really like Jones. I like Calavera, C's. I like a couple of these colors. And as a collector, I do want to have it, so I'm not going to be returning it, but I would not recommend going out and buying it. The only way I could see you really getting use out of this is if you're brand new to color, and you want something to ease yourself into it, because these are lighter, these are more approachable colors because they're not as pigmented. I think it's a way easier way to get into color than, say, picked up the wrong one, this, than say to like grab a Sugar Pill palette, you know what I mean? It's way easier to approach the Urban Decay palette than something like this, where these are intensely pigmented. But if you really wanted high impact color, I would pick up the Urban Decay Electric. It's still available on most websites, I think, for like $24. You get a brush, which is great. And this color right here is very close to Blind Side in the palette. This is kind of close to Mean. These purples kick the like crap out of the colors than the other one. This silver is way better than Iced. I mean, if you're looking for color, this is, I think, where you should go. While it's still available, you know. They're just so much better. They blend so much better. The impact is there. And then my other suggestion is Sugar Pill. So Calavera was great, and it's on par with Buttercup Cake here, but you can't beat the color in here. Like, this is probably what's most comparable to Hatter. This is so much more pigmented. This is Midori. These are all just so much more pigmented, and I know they're expensive. I know that when you're buying a palette from Urban Decay, $55 for 21 eyeshadows is a great price. And I know that Sugar Pill is more expensive, but there's just no comparison in quality. I was really disappointed in this palette, considering I love Urban Decay, and I was so excited to see like an all-colored palette from them. This is what I've been waiting for, and it was just a disappointment. I do like the brush that they included. I know that sounds stupid. I always love Urban Decay brushes. So it has like a fluffy end, you know, regular shadow end. It's a nice brush. I don't think it's worth it though. Personally, I would save your money and go for something like Sugar Pill, the Electric palette, a bunch of indie shadows, something like that. You know, these are decent, but you can get better impact and better quality from something else. And that's coming from someone who loves Urban Decay to death. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching the review. I know it was kind of a downer, but I hope you guys enjoyed nonetheless. And I will hopefully talk to you guys soon. I should hopefully have my 31 days of lipstick video out soonish. Hopefully get it filmed this weekend, I think. But I've been so messed up with daylight savings time. Like, I'll get out of class at 5 and it's already getting dark, and I'm like, where's my lighting? No. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.